Hey everyone, so my name is Maggie Bell, and I've been telling myself forever that I'm going to do a YouTube video or really just start a YouTube channel. But I've been procrastinating and been scared to death to do it, just to put myself out there, because that does take a lot of courage to do when you put yourself out on a platform like YouTube. But I do think that some of the things that I have to talk about will be beneficial to some people. So one of the first topics that I want to talk about is my career change. So I was a registered dietitian for a few years, and then excuse me. And then all of a sudden, I up and decided that I wanted to be a nurse, and I quit my job and became a registered nurse. And there are a lot of people that have asked me, Maggie, why did you do that? Like, what made you all of a sudden just up and leave your job and go to nursing school? And I've even had some people that are dietitians and are interested in doing the same thing. And they're like, do you think it was worth it? Are you glad that you did it? And look, if you have to go, if you gotta go, the short answer is yes. But I do want to delve a little bit into that and just kind of talk about my thought process and the sacrifices that I had to make, and just kind of the challenges that I had to face in order to make that decision. But ultimately, in the end, I'm glad that I did do it. So, this was just kind of a spur of the moment thing. It's a Sunday. These are just kind of my lounging around clothes. Look, I'm in here, I'm in my office, but I'm sewing. So I've got all this stuff on my desk, and I'm in my Sunday, well, now that we don't have church anymore, this is my Sunday garb. And but I will say, look y'all, my hair is popping, okay? Look, I just quick thing, side note. So I go to the beauty shop, and usually somebody does my hair because I just cannot handle it anymore. And so usually she cornrows me down, but this time I was 15 minutes late to my appointment, and she almost didn't take me, but she was like, okay, well, I'll take you, but you're gonna have to get a wash and go. So I was like, I don't know. But anyway, I'm really glad that I did it because it came out really nice. This is day 3, I believe. And my curls look really good. Now, when she first did it, it was hanging more. It was longer. But this is, of course, a couple days. I put the bonnet on there, so it kind of conformed to my bonnet. And I just have a lot of shrinkage anyway. But I'm really glad that I did it. And I think I'm going to keep actually doing wash and goes. Because I like the results that I got. And even yesterday I put it up in a little ponytail, and it was super cute. But anyway, so I graduated from the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville in 2011, and my degree was in nutrition. And so in order to become a registered dietitian, you have to go through a dietetic internship, and then you take the exam to become a dietitian. So graduated from Fayetteville in 2011, and then started my internship that same year, 2011. And then I finished 2012 the next year. So if anybody is familiar with Arkansas, so I went to college in Arkansas, and I'm from Little Rock. So I came back to Little Rock to do my dietetic internship. And just a quick little rewind on why I even decided to major in nutrition. Well, and really it was not my decision, which I think ultimately was the reason why I ended up going to nursing school, because nutrition was not my decision. So initially, when I went to the university in 2007, my degree was I registered to major in international business. Now, don't ask me what I was going to do with that. I mean, I literally have no clue what I was going to do with the international business degree. It just sounded good to me. I was like, oh, I major in international business. Now, the people that I talked to about that, they did not have the wherewithal to ask, well, what are you going to do with that? It was just like, oh, okay, that sounds cool. And in my mind, that's what I was thinking. Oh, that sounds cool. But my mom was a high school counselor. And so when we went up for orientation, she was like, I don't think it's a good idea. Look, she waited till the end. I don't think it's a good idea for you to major in business. So I'm like, what? Like, where is this coming from? Like, I've been telling you for months that that's what I'm gonna major in. Like, where is this coming from? But anyway, so we talked, and she was like, I really do think that it would be good for you to major in business. I mean, not business, to major in nutrition. So mind you, I mean, I don't eat healthy. I mean, I don't know anything about nutrition. I mean, I had no interest in it, like, but I knew my mother. I knew my mother was very intelligent, very wise. Like I said, she was a high school counselor. So she knew the different so she, she knew. And so thank God I listened to her and did nutrition instead of business. And so I did. I graduated from the program um in 2011, like I said, and by the grace of God, got into an internship my first go round. I got into my first choice, which if you talk to anybody that is that is either trying to get into the program, that's a nutrition student or a didactic student, or is a registered dietitian, they'll tell you, I mean, internships are extremely difficult to get into, especially your first choice. But like I said, by the grace of God, I got into my first choice, and I completed the program within a year. So I worked as a dietitian. So actually, my first job, and really, when I graduated from the program, I actually was a graduate assistant, a GA at another university. Because during my internship, they were like, you need to go ahead and get your master's degree. Like, get your master's degree, because they were always saying that that's where the profession is going. It's going to come to a point where you're going to have a master's degree. So I was just kind of in the position where I didn't have to go out and get a job immediately. I was still living at home. So, I didn't have to, I just didn't feel the pressure to necessarily run out and go get a job. So I worked as a GA for a semester, one semester. And when I say it was such a cush, like, now that I think about, like, just really sit down and think about it, like, they paid for my tuition. Then I got a stipend for working. I only had to work like 20 hours a week. So I was really able to focus on my work. And I think I ended up finishing that semester with a 4.0, because I mean, I had the time. I was not stressed financially, so I didn't have to work or anything because they were paying for everything. And then I don't know what made me, I think I just got greedy. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I need a job. I need to have like a real job. And and I didn't even have to worry about benefits, because I was, I believe President Obama was president. So President Obama was president. Well, anyway, Obama was the president. And so you could stay on your parents' insurance until you were 26. So I didn't have to worry about benefits. Like I said, my school was getting paid for. I was getting a stipend. I was staying at home. And not paying any real bills. But just got greedy. And so I was like, well, I need to get a real job. Like, I need to be making real money. So I quit that semester. So it was like May. I think now we're in 2012. We're still in 2012. We're in 2012. So it was like May 2012 to December 2012. I worked as a GA, and then I quit that December when school was out for winter break, and I got a job at the health department. And so I was working with the WIC program, and I actually really liked that job. Like, I fell in love with that job. But the only thing was, I had to do a lot of traveling, because my base was, once again, if anybody's familiar with Arkansas, it was Pine Bluff. So my base was Pine Bluff, but I lived in Little Rock. So my base was 45 minutes from home, because that's when they were doing a bunch of construction. And then I would have to travel from my base to other cities as well. And sometimes those cities would be 2.5 hours away from my house. So I'd be in my car a lot of the days. And that would wear down on me, because, nobody just wants to be in their car for 4 or 5 hours a day. And so, but I loved my job. I loved WIC. WIC was wonderful. I loved working there. But so I did not stay there very long. I worked there from January 2013 until probably about September. And I left and went to another state job and that was working with the school breakfast and school lunch program, which was very interesting. It was a extremely interesting job. I worked in Little Rock, so I did not have to do as much travel, but my job still required travel, but not as much as it was when I was working for WIC. But it was totally different. Like, I was going in the schools, I was making sure that they were following the guidelines for the breakfast program and the nutrition program that was set forth by the USDA. And that just was not my calling. It was interesting. And now that I'm a school nurse, I'm like, I'm glad that I kind of have that knowledge about how that program works. But it just was not for me. And so I was like, and so it just, and I really, and that job really is, I think, what facilitated me to be like, I think I want to go to nursing school because, and initially, let me back up. So I did go on a mission trip when I graduated from college, my University of Arkansas. When I graduated from there in 2011, yes, I went on a mission trip. That was my graduation gift, was a mission trip. My church goes every year just about on a mission trip, and it was to Jamaica. And so it was awesome. I worked in the pharmacy, and from there on, I went every single year. I think, yeah. I went in 2012, I believe, and I went in 2013. But anyway, it was either 2013 through 2014, one of those trips. So just a reminder, because I know I'm kind of all over the place. So I started working, that's when I started working with the National School Breakfast and School Lunch Program in 2013, September. And I stayed there until 2015, but I saw early on, like probably 2014, like midway after I've been there for a year, I was like, I don't know if this is really what I want to do. So, and I think it was that year where I went on a mission. It was either 2014 or 2013. Now I can't remember. I think it was 2014, but I went on a mission trip to Jamaica again, and this was my third year going. But it was something different about this time. The third time, it was something different about it. Because now when I've gone in the past, like I said, I've worked in the pharmacy every single time. Every single time before I became a nurse, I worked in the pharmacy. And when I say, y'all, they worked us like a Hebrew, oh my goodness, what, a Hebrew slave? Because a lot of times people think mission trips, it's more of like a vacation, especially when you think of Jamaica, because you think of water, beach, I just think of a fun time. And it was a fun time, but we worked. I would usually wake up about 5 or 6 a.m. Now, I didn't even wake up that early for work. Okay? I didn't wake up that early for work. But, we had to wake up early, and my team had to be there before everybody else because we had to get the pharmacy ready. And then, so I'm waking up at 5, 6. We're getting to the site at 7. We're setting up. We're not ending the day. The clinic does not end until 4, but because you're in the pharmacy, you don't end till about 5 or 6 p.m. And then in addition to the mission trip was evangelism and medical. So in the mornings and afternoons, we would have the clinic. And then in the afternoons, at night, we would have the actual gospel meeting. So, and just the way I'm raised, I'm like, well, I need to go to the gospel meeting. So, I mean, literally, you're working all day long because the gospel meeting would start at 7. And then, I don't know if anybody is Church of Christ and been to Jamaica before, but worshiped in Jamaica, but they gonna sing for about an hour. So we would sing from about 7 to 8, and then the preacher would finally get up at 8-ish, and he would not do a 10-minute sermon and be quite a while. So your day wouldn't end until 9, and the meeting wouldn't end until about 8:45, 9 o'clock. Then you got to drive home, or drive back to the hotel, and so that would be like a 30 minute drive, depending on how traffic is. And then you got to eat, because by that time you're hungry. And so, I mean, early days, late nights. So, they were working, and you're taking off work, but you're working just as hard. It wasn't a vacation. Now they did be a week long, and at the end they would do like a week, a fun day where you could, just kind of decompress before you went back home. But, all the other days you're working super hard. So anyway, But it was something about that third trip that I was like, when it was time to go, because usually when it's time to go, first and second year, I'm like, "Ooh, thank you, Lord." Whew, I done worked my way into heaven now because, I'm tired. I'm ready to go home. Just to finally catch a breather, relax, and get back to normal routine. But this time, the third time, I was just like, man, I don't want to leave. And I've never experienced that, just being honest. Never experienced that. Never experienced that feeling where I'm like, man, I just don't want to leave. It was just something pulling me to stay. And now, of course, I didn't stay now because I didn't stay. But it just, like I said, I was just almost in tears with the fact that I had to leave. And I didn't, and I've never felt that way before. So in my mind, on the way home, I'm like, what can I do where I can do mission work whenever I want to, wherever I want to, where if I wanted to make this a full-time thing, I could do it. And so going to medical school, being a doctor, and I'm like, man, well, I think at that time I was already 26, 27. So I'm like, man, by the time I get through, no, I might have been a little younger. I might have been like 24. And so I'm like, man, by the time I get through that, I'll be an old maid, and so I was like, well, so then nursing, thought about nursing. I'm like, they always need nurses, just kind of went through my mind about it. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to nursing school. And just all from that experience, all from that mission trip, that not wanting to leave, that desire to just do mission work, to help people. I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm going to nursing school. And, my gauge is always my mom. So out of the blue, I just said it. I'm like, I really want to go to nursing school. And, usually, and I trust her judgment so much that probably if she would have been like, I don't think that's a good idea, I probably would not have done it. But she was super supportive, even my dad. No, was he? My dad. I can't remember what my dad said. But he was the one. No, you know what? I think he was supportive because initially he was the one that said, when I first went to college, he was like, you should be a nurse. But it wasn't. I just didn't feel a calling for it, and I guess even with nutrition, I didn't feel a calling for it either. So maybe it was just him. Maybe I didn't want to listen to him, but that might have been some of it. But yeah, my mom was super supportive, and my dad too, because he allowed me to. I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but he allowed me to continue to stay in his house and their house during nursing school. So, but anyway, so my mom was super supportive about it. And so I was like, okay, well, I've gotten her blessing, I prayed about it, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it. So that was probably 2014. So, now at that time I was making about I was making like $41,000. I might've been making a little bit more because I would get like a travel stipend. So I was making decent money. I had great benefits. I for a lot of people that was a crazy decision, but and once again, and I had a lot of money because I was living at home. I was paying bills. I was help. How parents make you pay a little bit, but it was nothing compared to now what I pay living on my own. But yeah, so it was a a leap of faith because I literally gave up 41,000 or more to go to zero. But anyway, so that was 2014, and so I did have a few prerequisites that I had to get, but I took them at a community college just so I could pay it off easily and not be stuck with a big bill, and I was able to get through those pretty quickly. So 2014, I went through my prerequisites and I applied for nursing school. Now, I applied for several nursing schools, and I will say this. So and this video is getting kind of long and I hate that. So I know some people, they just want you to get to the point, but it's just caveats and nuances to this. If you watch Tony Gaskins, you know what I'm talking about, but caveats and nuances to this. And so I applied to several different nursing schools. And I will say this, my first 2 years of college at the university, I'm 95% sure, because it's been a while ago, that I did not study my first 2 years of college. I partied. I was chasing men. And you heard right. I was chasing men, which that's a whole nother video, because you should never chase a man. But I was chasing men. I was partying. I was getting drunk every weekend. I didn't have time for school. I didn't have time for school. I was too busy doing me. And so that pretty much brought my grades down. And so what do you take your first 2 years? You take your core classes. So that was my sciences, my your sciences, your foundation classes. So, and then usually your last 2 years is your core nutrition classes, or whatever your major is. Those are your core classes. So my grades sucked, the first 2 years. Now the last 2 years, thank God something triggered in me, and it was my advisor. That's what it was. Shout out to Dr. Moore. If you ever watch this video, you saved my life. But, so 2 years in, like I said, didn't study, was too busy partying, doing all that. Then I switched advisors. I switched going into my junior year, I switched advisors. And she looked at my grades and she said, dietetic internships, the minimum grade point that they accept is a 3.0. And really that's a minimum, and really they're looking for things higher. And I think at the time I was like at a 2 point something. And she was like, if you want to get into an internship, you are going to have to get these grades up. And so it was like, from there, something switched in me, and I was like, okay, I know what I got to do. Like, thank God, I hate that it took that, but that's what it took for me to just really hit the gas pedal. And I made a complete turnaround. I think I had a 2.8, 2.7. It was something like that. And then that next semester I was on the dean's list. I think might have been 1 or 2 semesters I made the chancellor's list. But I turned completely, just made a complete left turn, and I think I finished with a 3.3. And so it wasn't the best. It wasn't what I know a lot of my people that were in the internship with me had, but listen, it got me in. So Lord, now I forgot where I was going with that. Okay. So with that being said, that was a deterrent for me, for a lot of people that look at applications in nursing school. So I would just email the person over the nursing department for a school that I was interested in. And I would just be like, hey, can you look at my transcript, make sure I got everything, see if there's anything that I'm missing. And y'all, I cannot tell y'all how many people there were that said, our nursing program only accepts students that accepts basically top tier students, and your GPA is not really anywhere near where we would like it to be. We have all these applicants, and just basically telling me like, you can submit your application, you've got everything you need, but just know that we accept, this is the grade point that we're really looking for. And mind you, I had a 3.3, but a lot of them went by college. A lot of them didn't even look at your overall. They just looked at kind of those science courses. And like I said, my science courses, my grades sucked. And so they'd be like, basically, you can apply, but you don't have a great chance of getting in. And I'm not gonna lie, that really drained my spirit. And it really made me be like, well, maybe this isn't the right decision. Like, maybe I shouldn't pursue this. But, I talked to my mom, and thank God, once again, who you go to is so important, and who, what you say to people can really make or break them. Because I think if my mom would have been like, just give up then, you got a good job, you can just stay there, don't worry about it. If she would have said that to me, I probably would have been like, you know what, you're right. Like, I'm making all this money, I'm going to get a raise every year, I've got good benefits, but instead she was like, you know what, you forget them. Basically, in so many words, forget them. Like, you are smart, you are, you're this, you're that, like, keep pressing on. And that's a lesson, because people are there's always going to be somebody that tells you to no, or that, that discourages you. What would life be like if everybody was like, okay, yeah, it's yours, good job, yeah, okay, You can have it. Yeah. But no, people are going to tell you no in life, and from there, it's your decision to either press forward and and still go for what you want. In some situations, now I hate to keep going back to a man, but if a man tells you he don't want you, I mean, keep it moving, keep it pushing, don't push that. But in this instance where they were saying, well, you've got everything, but we only accept these kinds of people, no, you need to keep pushing. And thank God I did, because I finally did. I got, now it was not my first choice. Now I will say that this nursing school that I ended up going to was not my first choice, but I mean, it ended up being the best choice for me, because a lot of the colleges that I was applying to, the nursing programs, tuition was $20,000, $25,000 just for 2 years, and a lot of other different things. But the college that I ended up getting into, I graduated with about $11,000 worth of debt, which is not bad. The program was only a year and a half, so I was not out of the workforce for that long, and I was able to find a job immediately. Anyway, so I ended up getting into nursing school, and I will say, so this was all 2014, took my prerequisites, and then 2015 I quit my job. I quit my job in June of 2015. I started nursing school in July of 2015, graduated in December of 2016. And like I said, it was literally the best decision, one of the best decisions that I have ever made. And I'm glad that I had a supportive mother, that I had a supportive father, that and that I just went for it, and that I did not allow people to deter me from doing what I really wanted to do. And so, now that's whole nother video about the challenges that I faced in nursing school, because I think it's worth talking about and discussing that nursing school was the hardest thing that I have ever done in my life. And I've had a lot of school. I did end up finishing my master's in nutrition. So I had a bachelor's in nutrition. I had a master's in nutrition. I went through an internship. And so I've had quite a bit of college experience, and I have quite a bit to compare it to. And mind you, this was an associate degree in nursing. It wasn't even a bachelor's degree in nursing, which is another video, because I would suggest doing an associate's degree in nursing, especially if this is your second go round like me, a second career, and then check and see if your employer will pay for your bachelor's, because that's the situation that I ended up getting into. And so I saved myself so much money doing that. But y'all know I go off on tangents, and then I forget where I was going. But it was literally, I mean, the best thing that I have done, and I don't regret my decision. And I feel like now I am in purpose, and I feel like I'm doing what I was put on this earth to do. And nursing school came with so many challenges. Like I said, the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life. And even being a nurse has been the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life. Man, whoo! It comes with a lot of responsibility. And so, and that's going to be another video, because I don't want this video to be too long. But, I went to nursing school from July 2015 to December 2016. And in October 2016, I had a job. And so had a job right out of nursing school. And so I worked in a hospital. Initially, I started on med surge, and then I ended up going into the ICU. And so taking care of sick people in the hospital is difficult. It's challenging. It's mentally exhausting. It's physically exhausting. And I did that for 3 years. And I also did a little bit of traveling, which was amazing, but same physical work and same mental work. And so I made the decision of this year, I got the job in May 2020, to become a school nurse. And so, like I said, that's a whole nother video. So I have a lot to talk about. I really do have a lot to talk about. I've had an interesting journey. I've had a great journey. But like I said, at the end of the day, it was what was in my heart to become a nurse. Now I know somebody's probably like, well, is it really in your heart? Because you said if you first you were thinking about being a doctor. Well, okay, yeah, but to me it was to me it was deep down in my heart to do nursing, because I knew I wanted to help people in a different way other than just counseling them nutritionally. So I feel like it was in my heart to help, bottom line, help people, and I knew I wanted to do it in a medical setting. And so yeah, doctor, it was my first choice, but nursing, I feel like, was still in my heart, was still, it made the most sense for me, and ended up being the best decision for me. So and like I said, it was some sacrifices. I was making 41,000, probably more than that, probably closer to 44, 45, and then went to zero. But now when I was working in the hospital, of course not now, and even when I was doing traveling, made the most money I've ever made in my life. I think one year I looked at my taxes and I was like, dang, I made that much money. Dang. So it's like, sometimes you don't want to leave where you're at, because you're like, man, I can't walk away from that. I can't go a year without working. And and mind you, like I said, thank God, I had supportive parents. They allowed me to stay there. But sometimes I think, long story short, I just think sometimes it's worth it. It's worth it. And if you believe in God, just trust him, and it will all work out, especially if it's what you're supposed to be doing. And I feel like it's what I am supposed to be doing. And I really feel like I said, I mean, it's challenging. I've gone through a lot of things being a nurse, a lot more than I ever did being a dietitian, but I still feel like I'm in purpose, and I still feel like I'm doing what I was called to do, what I've been put on this earth to do. So anyway, like I said, I really did not intend on this video being this long, but I hope this inspires someone to follow their dreams, to do what they have been thinking about doing, and what they really want to do, but have been a little bit nervous about stepping away. That if this is really where you're supposed to be in life, if this is what you're supposed to be doing, then it will all work out. And there will be some challenges and some roadblocks on the way that'll make you think, well, is this really what I'm supposed to do? And all I can say is stay true to who you are. And if you believe in God like I do, then just trust in him. Trust that it will all work out. And like I said, I hate to just keep saying this, but I'm just so thankful that I did this. And I've been able to go on now with mission trips where I was only going on one a year and going to one place. I've been so many different places now, and have been able to help so many different people and see so many different things, and just experience. It's been nursing for me has been amazing, and not just with the money. So anyway, I hope this video helps, and I will be making more because I have a lot to talk about when it comes to nursing. So thank you so much for watching, and feel free to reach out to me, direct message, if you have any questions about anything, because I love to talk about this, and I love to help people, and I love to inspire and educate and help you get on the right track. So, all right, talk to you later. Bye-bye.